Do you remember what it was like the first time you did a on-chain transfer?
Yeah, it was kind of smooth actually.
Okay.
It was, I had thought about it for a while, and I was just impressed by like how it, I obviously I sent it to myself.
That's cool.
But it was it happened, and I was like, oh, I had talked about it, and now I've seen it. I've seen it happen, and so yeah, it was. And you start to get more comfortable with the long numbers and letters and everything, and you really have to do it. Because there's some people that do to this day they don't know how to send a Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's a really important skill to be. And I'm glad you asked me that question. If you're a newbie, you get a moment of pride. You really do.
You do, yeah.
You really, because you have graduated to another level.
Exactly.
You really have.
That initial horror. If you didn't understand what you're doing when you set the sats for BByte.
A better question is what was it like to send your first significant amount of Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I have a story. I'm not gonna say how much it was, but you actually feel it in your heart.
Yeah.
You do get a little. There's a weird nervousness to it because you're just like, I could lose a lot of money if this thing. If this thing isn't really what it says it really is. It is what it says it is. It does it. But there's just still this natural tendency. You're sending thousands of dollars, and then it happens. It's just a new way of doing things. And that's a true test. That's a true graduation test too. Because again, you go through you really do feel a little sickness. There's a little bit of a sickness. And then you're like, okay, I can deal with that if I ever have to do it again. But at the same time, it teaches you, don't do this often. There's no reason to move it around. There's no reason to move it to an exchange. There's no reason. Remember the feeling that you were going to barf or have a heart attack almost. Remember that. So you're not tempted to sell it for fiat. So it gives you this incentive not to do something stupid because you don't want to feel that heart attack feeling.
Right, exactly. Along the same lines, once taking self custody is a big responsibility. It's something that you should take super serious. And again, if you're holding your Bitcoin on an exchange or with anybody else, some kind of third party, it's not really your Bitcoin, right? It's not your keys, not your crypto. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. That's how it works. So, have you ever lost any Bitcoin?
Have I lost any? Not by a mistake on my part, but in terms of sending it, back and forth to the wrong address, like that. Right. Never done that. Some people when the Bcash fork happened, they start sending their Bitcoin to Bcash by accident to exchanges. All sorts of nightmares happen. And I've heard when Ethereum Classic came out, they were all people sending it to the wrong ones. There was all sorts of confusion when these forks happened. But I did make a mistake once. There was somebody told me if they sent me, if I sent them Bitcoin, it was for like an investment thing, and it was gonna, it was a legitimate project and everything like that. But it was stupid. It ended up going to zero. So I lost Bitcoin that way. Yeah, I lost Bitcoin that way. I've been in this game for so long that right around that time, it was 2014 when I sent that, because I had this stupid. It was still early 2014. I thought you had to do something with your Bitcoin. So do nothing with your Bitcoin. So I was willing to risk some of it. So with that one project, I sent some dude it. And then there was this other project someone told me about called Ethereum. Oh my God. Like if I sent my Bitcoin to this Ethereum thing that they were building, and it was very complex what you had to do, that eventually you would get this thing called Ethereum. And I actually did that. I sent $6 worth of Bitcoin.
Oh my gosh.
$6 worth of Bitcoin to this Ethereum thing. And eventually they did send me 20 Ethereum. Wow. I was one of the initial Ethereum buyers. I didn't know what I was doing then. Yeah. It was a true test of some complicated cryptocurrency. It was a learning experience. But some people today are like, oh, you're horrible. You were involved in that pre-mine. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I just answered your question. Did you ever lose any Bitcoin? So I didn't actually lose it. It got turned into Ethereum. I didn't know really what I was doing. It was 2014, and they actually didn't send us the Ethereum, I think, till 2015 or something like that. But yeah, it was $6 for 20 Ethereum back then.
That's wild. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's a great like primer for us that are getting started, right? And I say us because this again, the show is geared more towards the beginner. With that in mind, let's jump into the next segment. I'm going to call this segment the time travel segment. Okay. What's one piece of advice you would give yourself if you could go back in time to when you first heard about Bitcoin?
Oh, when I first heard about it, don't be scared about wiring money to Japan.
Oh, yeah, right.
But at the same time, that could have ended. That could have ended in disaster.
That's true.
It happened if I would have gotten like a 50 Bitcoin back then, and then lost it all at Mt. Gox, because that's what it was. You were wiring your money to Mt. Gox, which is an exchange in Japan, which ended up stealing everybody's money.
I heard about that.
I would have, and there's not that much that would have changed. And I'm really happy with the way things turned out. How can I complain? I really cannot complain. I've never sold it. I would have started my channel a bit earlier.
Oh, that's a good one.
I would have been more open to talk about it more. Like I was making a lot of Baltimore videos in 2014 still. I should have just went all in with my cryptocurrency, my Bitcoin videos.
Yeah.
It was only Bitcoin.
That is very interesting.
I should have done more Bitcoin videos back then. That's something that would have been more productive with my time. I'll tell you this.
But it's also more stigmatized back then too, though, right?
Well, it was not even. It was like it was so little was known about it that there weren't that many. It was like associated with drug dealers and stuff, sure, a little bit, but not people just didn't even know.
Yeah.
What was a Bitcoin time call? But 2016, I made a pact with myself to stop watching the NFL and focus more on Bitcoin.
That's so good.
I would have done that earlier. I would have done earlier.
That is awesome.
That would have been a better use of my time.
Oh my!
Because it was not only did I start focusing on Bitcoin more instead of mindless NFL stuff.
Oh my!
I started just learning more about life and philosophy and stuff. So if I would have liked to get my mind into a more of a philosophical mindset earlier. That's advice I give myself. Get more into philosophy.
I have this pet peeve when I watch people complain about their fantasy football league, and if you have all this time, and then you're complaining about money after that, right? Like you have all this time to manage a fantasy football team. Get to know all the players, pick your team, and move them every day, and adjust your stats. But you don't have time to learn about Bitcoin. It's like, come on, right? That's on you.
No. It's personal responsibility is the new counterculture. You spend your time doing nonsense, then it's your own fault that you're in a nonsense financial situation. And I did just want to add, since I am from Baltimore and everything, I understand what it's like when football teams move. My condolences to the city of San Diego for losing the San Diego Chargers. I know it's a business and everything like that. It does hurt some of the natural fabric of it all. I just wanted to point it out there so everyone does know that I'm not lying. I did know a lot about football once. Definitely, just want to put. And San Diego is beautiful. You're in San Diego.
Yeah,
love the weather.
Great place. Yeah, love it. That's so awesome. So okay, let's jump into the next question. We're curious to be one piece of advice for someone who might be watching this 10 years from now.
Oh my God, 10 years from now, that dude, you should be right now. So if it's 10 exact years from now, that means it's 20. Let's just say it's the beginning of 2034.
See, in two halvings, yeah.
Yeah. So they're in the middle of a down market right now.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the middle. Yeah, it's a 10-year because basically you're in the middle of the down market. You're about to hit one. It gets better, dude. It keeps on repeating. Stick with it for 4 years. Go back, 10 years, 8 years in my video archive, and you can see these patterns developing over and over and over. I hope you're enjoying the abundance that technology has brought you in 2034. Things are going to get exponentially better Don't let people scare you. There are always going to be doomers predicting the end of the world. I'm sure people are predicting all sorts of. You are living a better life than I am right now, dude. You should be very happy that you are, and you should be humbled to know that 10 years from, in 2044, it's going to even be better. And just hang on to your Bitcoin as long as possible so that you can really and spend it on some of those new health technologies in 2044, because you're already experiencing some of them in 2034. And give me a call. Hopefully I'm still around. Send me a DM at TechBalt. I'd love to be on your show. Whoever you are in 2034, I'll come on right now. Let's arrange it. Okay, let's arrange it right now with my AI secretary or whatever. But best advice I can tell you to give you incentive to hold on to that Bitcoin, that maybe you have the chance to live 400 years or something like that. So don't use it on that new 2034 Lamborghini, especially since you're about to have a down market. Save it for the 2044 technology for the living to 300 years old.
That's so true. That's amazing. I didn't think about it in that as far as like medical technology down the road, like 20 years from now, 10 years from now. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And that dude right now, if he's a 25-year-old dude, then if he's 25, he's 15 now. So he really here in 2020 at the start of 2024. It's the end of 2023, but you get it, dude. Yeah. I mean, these guys are 15 right now. They have such opportunity for life extension, for wealth, for abundance. It's really just great. That is the blessings of youth. Take advantage of it, dudes. Take advantage of it. 25-year-old in 2034. Seriously, you're a very lucky man. 25-year-old that's watching this in 2034.
Awesome. Very cool. That's cool. So let's jump into the next segment of the show, which we like to call the Bitcoiner. So at this point, you've gone through all of your trials and tribulations of learning the system and stacking, and you're done with your any kind of poop coin activities and you've gone full Bitcoin only, self-custody. What's life like? Lessons learned from that.
You mean at that point in my life?
What triggered that final?
Well, I'm going to tell you. I mean, it really hits you. You get this epiphany that Bitcoin is the best economic system, but it does not change. And that's you want reliability. The fiat is always changing. You don't know how much they're going to print. You don't know what the interest rates are going to be on it. With Bitcoin, it is really, really, and that is that simplicity. Everybody complexity worships. They want a Bitcoin 2.0. Okay, then you have Ethereum. It changes all the time. There's been Ethereum 2. They called the project Ethereum 2.0 when they made that changes. But if you are just care about preserving your wealth, that is Bitcoin. And I know it sounds boring to some people, but that is why it is the best financial system is the most reliable. That you're going to bear your Bitcoin, and that you could bear your Bitcoin right now out there in the ground. 100 years later, it's going to be the same. There's not going to be a 2.0. Nothing. There's only going to be 21 million ever. That is a reliability that makes it better than any system ever created. Because again, fiat changes every month with how much they're printing. You don't even know. It's not even out there. So when you really come to that understanding, and you understand that simplicity is what it's all about, you're very satisfied with Bitcoin. Some people are never satisfied, though. They want changes. They want 2.0. So let them have Ethereum. That is when you get into the confident decentralist mindset. For me, being a Bitcoiner is understanding that there are going to be other things out there. You must be confident in the simplicity of Bitcoin. If you truly value preserving your wealth, if you truly value the simplicity of being able to send a Bitcoin to anyone you want, even someone that's been censored, it is uncensorable, to understand that no one can come take your Bitcoin like they can take your gold, okay? So you see things like the truckers protest in Canada, and you understand truly what uncensorable and unconfiscatable is. They tried to raise money through the traditional crowdfunding platforms. All their banking accounts were shut down. The only way you could get them send them value was through Bitcoin. So that's truly when you become a Bitcoin only. You can understand that maybe if you want to build some DeFi thing somewhere, well, Bitcoin doesn't do that. Yeah. So if you're interested in that, go to Ethereum, go to Solana. If you want magical JPEGs or whatever, go to Solana. Now again, they started doing that on Bitcoin a little bit too. Is Bitcoin the best for that? Clearly, it's not the best to build your little JPEGs on. It is the best money out there. It is the best wealth preservation and passing it on from generation to generation. That's what you want to do. If you have it in your bank account, when you die, the government takes half of it and distributes it to it's not going to go to your kids. Yeah. Sure, they'll inherit some of it, but 50% goes to the government. Wow, that's a great way to die, isn't it? You're dead, and then the government steals half your money. Wow. That's not unconfiscatable. But Bitcoin is no. Homie, don't play that. Pound that like button, baby.
Right, let's go, baby. That's so like true. Homie, don't play that. I love that. I remember that. So good.
And live in color, baby.
Right, and live exactly. So on the kind of the same time, mind frame. What is your philosophy on orange pilling friends and family? Do you still do it?
Very interesting. You don't push too hard.
Yeah.
Don't push it. Well, let me tell you something. When I bought those first 2 Bitcoin, again, it was right before Thanksgiving. I told you it was November of 2013. It was Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving. So then it was Thanksgiving. My buddies, we would have a little Thanksgiving party. What do I start telling these heads about Bitcoin? Now I was just like, look, I bought it at 600. It's already at 900 because it was during the Mt. Gox spike.
Oh my!
I was like, dude, look at this thing. It's awesome. And they didn't pay much attention. I emailed people. I emailed friends. I had the email receipts from December of that year. Wow. A very close friend of mine. I'm telling him to buy Bitcoin. He never did. Of all those friends, one eventually did. What it was about 700. Took him till about 2016. Now family. So some people are never going to listen to you, even when they're your close friends that you've known for years and years and years. Family's a little different. You get a little bit more personal. You're a little bit more in your face. Yeah. I've had close relatives buy it. Cool. So they've been a little bit more receptive. But again, you cannot be too pushy. Yeah. It cannot be like a religion on them. That's not going to work. Don't be religious about it. It's not a religion. Be careful, people who've made it their religion. You got to find meaning in other aspects of your life. Diversify a little bit. Don't diversify your financial holdings too much there. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin, diversify your your philosophical, your friends and everything a little bit like that. Who you read, don't make this a cult. Bitcoin is not a cult, but you can make it a cult for yourself, and that's a little sick. And don't try to I call it the Bitcoin Inquisition. Some people think okay, that guy's, I hate that guy because he said the word Ethereum. Literally, there'll be some people that'll be disgusted. They'll be disgusted that I mentioned that I, in 2014, spent $6 on Ethereum. They really will be sickened by that. Dude, they weren't even over, they were 15 years old in 2014, for God's sakes, and they're going to complain about what I did in 2014 because I said the word Ethereum in 2024. I mean, it is the Inquisition. It is as logical as Inquisition when they would throw people in lakes and whatever, and because they weren't.
That's right.
Torture them until they said they loved someone, and then they killed them anyway. It was ridiculous.
That's so wild. Yeah, that's crazy. No, it's true. It's I think I'm guilty of getting a little bit more into that cultish mindset, so I need to check that. People aren't receptive to that at all.
Yeah. We're living in a little bit of a bubble here. So it's actually accepted here to be a Bitcoin Inquisitioner. It's kind of in our community, it's a huge community, but it's kind of accepted. Yeah, there are guys like that. Yeah. Dude, in normie world, you try to pull that, you might get the beat down. I mean, think about it. Just think about it. Nobody likes to try to sell them religions out on the street. I mean, those guys, and I give those guys all the credit in the world. The guys who try to spread their religions, they think they're doing the right thing. But what's the success rate? 0.00001%. It's the same thing when you treat Bitcoin that way. You're going to get the same success rate as the guy spreading various religions.
Yeah, that's wild. Okay, very nice. Cool. Okay, so you mentioned it earlier, but on September 9th, 2014, that's when you put out a video that's titled "Buy 10 Bitcoin."
It was around September 16th. Yeah, it was something like that. It was around the day the Orioles clinched the American League East.
There you go.
Around 2014, you mean 2014? You said.
What was the initial?
Is it the video? You mean the pinned video on my? The pinned video on my. Well, I might be getting confused.
Yeah, the pinned video on your
Twitter.
On your X or Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. That is from around September the 16th of 2014.
That's
I tell people to buy what ended up being worth $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
Yes. You make a reference to if you're trying to get a $50,000 car, get a cheaper car and take 10,000 from that and put it into Bitcoin, right? And what was the initial reaction when that video first came out?
No one cared. It was on a video that had hardly anything to do with Bitcoin. There was no when I finally pinned it.
Yeah.
Which was years later.
That's awesome.
People were like, "Oh my god, he was right. He was so right. He was so." And there were some people who were like, "I wonder if he really did it. I wonder where he." Oh, I did it. Don't worry. I did it. Much more than that too. I practiced what I preached.
Yeah.
I practice. You got so again. Most people don't believe to this very day. Probably do not believe me because I do not have a Lamborghini. I live a very minimalist lifestyle. And everything. Look at me. I wear a T-shirt and all. I get excited when people give me free T-shirts. I don't shave that often. I don't. I look. It is great. It is. I can tell everybody the truth, which is like I did really well with Bitcoin. I don't believe it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So like I'm not a target or anything.
I'll be sending you one of these if that's okay. The Stack Against the Machine shirt back here.
Yeah, I'll wear it on my shirt. I wear all shirts.
Do black with white text or this one, whichever you prefer. We'll figure it out afterwards too.
We'll figure it out afterwards. But I usually like black.
Okay, good. I like that one too.
No. So yeah, if you guys have shirts, I love free T-shirts. It's awesome. Are you selling them too, man? Like, it's good to be an entrepreneur.
I am, but it's because I wanted to have a shirt that I wanted to wear, not because not for the fiat or whatever. It's just I'm selling for whatever it costs me to make them, and then.
Yeah. Do what you do. Don't feel guilty about making a profit. Whatever you're providing a service every year. By the way, everybody. So I'm in Salt Lake City. We have a Salt Lake City meetup. This is the hat. Again, I take freebies like that. I didn't actually have a winter hat. You need one here. So look at that. CL Salt Lake City Bitcoin. Look it up. Salt Lake City Bitcoin meetup. If you're in the region, come to it. I think it's every first Wednesday of the month. Cody is an awesome guy. I told him I would show him the hat he gave me. But thanks for the shirts, everybody. And yeah, guys, go to my Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Yep. The pin video, watch it. Some of you are gonna be like, oh God, I knew about Bitcoin then, but guys, it's not luck. That's why.
Yes, that's another good point.
I put it out there. Yep. It's not luck. People like losers used to say, oh, luck. They blame everything on luck. No, what luck? Let me tell you what luck really is. It's people that find out about something. They just don't theorize. They do something. That is not luck. That is doing based. So you did the research. You became a smarter person. That's good. Then you could see. And back then, there were all sorts of people that gave all sorts of excuses why Bitcoin would fail. Okay, that was cool. You guys wrote some really cool essays about why Bitcoin would fail. What I did was I talked why Bitcoin would succeed, and I did something. Wasn't writing essays, it was making videos and actually buying it. Is that luck? No, we went different pathways. You complained, I compete. And I said, compete, don't complain. That's not luck. People can be jealous, people will be envious, people will continue to be haters. But it kind of, again, it's kind of beneficial because they're like, he really doesn't have Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, good. I really don't have it.
That's so wild.
Anyway, yeah.
That's so true, right? If you're making that video again, how many Bitcoin do we need to be elite?
Oh, right now, how many people should try to aim for? I try to get one. This is what I say. I call my show the One Bitcoin Show. The reason I named it that is because people needed a freaking goal.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And it was still, when I started naming it the one, I didn't used to call it the One Bitcoin Show, but when I named it, it was still pretty legitimate. It was going to cost a few $1,000s, but that was now. So now people are like, oh, it's so expensive. Let that be your first goal, dude. Yeah. Now more than ever. I know $45,000 sounds like a lot of money. But let me tell you, in the far future, that dude who's watching this in 2034, oh yeah, One Bitcoin, it's good to go, man. You could definitely get a house with that One Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So right now in the present, I would aim for one. That'll make you elite. Dude, it's true. There's hardly anyone that owns one There's hardly anyone that owns one right now even. So that's going to get you into elite territory. But of the whole 8 billion people on Earth, just owning some Bitcoin, dudes.
That's true.
Don't theorize about it. Don't make excuses why you don't write nice essays about it. Get some of it now, and then send some of it to yourself. And then you've got a marketable skill that you can work with in this new economy.
Dude,
you can put that on your resume that you could sell. Most people cannot sell a Bitcoin. And then these are all stuff you could sell. Companies want someone who you think it's like, some people think it's like weak to know how to store Bitcoin. Oh, no. That is a marketable, valuable skill. I have some videos out there like talking about the 5 skills of Bitcoin that you could send, store, split. I forgot them all now. Search. If you could search out on a block explorer how much your Bitcoin is worth, just type it. That is a skill most people can't. It's so
that's interesting. You can't take it for granted.
Things that some Bitcoiners think are really simple are really hard for most people. Think long and hard about that, people. There are so many opportunities in this space. There really are.
And if you've been playing around with nodes and managing nodes and stuff like that, that's again, miners. That's another huge skill. You got networking in there. You got coding. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. You're taking it to a whole nother level. I'm keeping it real simple with people that, to know how to send a Bitcoin, know how to store a Bitcoin. And most people that own Bitcoin, by the way, that are watching right now, they don't know how to store Bitcoin. They just bought it at Coinbase and left it there. Yeah. That's not storing Bitcoin. That's not storing Bitcoin at all. But that's how most people currently, and once this ETF comes around, same thing. Yeah. Most people that think they own Bitcoin, it'll be in the ETF or something like that. Yeah. So that's why being able to send it to a Trezor is a real marketable skill. You could be that for some corporation or for some nonprofit. You could be their Bitcoin store, and they pay you $10,000 a year. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
So few people can do it. I don't know. It's better. Or you could teach them all how to do it, and they pay you $5,000. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's it. You're so right. That is such a wow. That's a little mind blowing. It can give you a whole business out of that.
Dude. In 2016. I would charge people 0.2 Bitcoin to teach them how to use their Trezor.
What? That's so.
And I have never. And so it was $120 an hour. That was $120 an hour. Then 0.2 Bitcoin was $120 an hour. And by the way, I had a few clients, here and there. I won't say how many. I've never sold those Bitcoin. So what's that 0.2? So basically, what did they pay me? They paid me $9,000 an hour.
Wow.
Nice? Because I thought of it that way. I was not valuing my wealth in Bitcoin, in fiat. Yep. I wanted 0.2 Bitcoin. Yep. I didn't care about the $120. I wanted 0.2 Bitcoin. So that's what people should think about then now too, if they want to teach people how to use a Trezor.
So good.
Charge a 0.01 Bitcoin or wait, maybe even less. With a 1% of a Bitcoin,
would be like $100. I don't know if anyone's 0.023, $100.
Yeah. $450, whatever. But you get the hang of it, people. Try to get more Bitcoin. You can teach people all sorts of things for just Bitcoin, and that's how you end up with one Bitcoin one day.
That's true. That's amazing. It takes me back, like a little flashback to that thing Michael Saylor said a couple months ago, where if you were to go and work a McDonald's job and just invest 100% of your paycheck into Bitcoin today, it's the equivalent of getting paid $8,000 an hour in 10 years. Right?
Yeah. It's a beautiful way of thinking about it. But most of the people at McDonald's buy rims instead. Very nice.
Right.
They buy rims for their truck that they're doing monthly payments on that they can't afford. I mean,
oh my gosh, that's sad. Yeah.
Very sad.
Very sad. Cool. Okay, so talk about this is an important one. I kind of added this to the questions because of one of your videos I was watching earlier today. Yes. Can you talk about the difference between a Bitcoin goal and a Bitcoin system?
Bitcoin goal. Oh, this is an old video of mine.
Yeah. Sorry, I dug deep.
Goals. It's all in life. This is Scott Adams came up with goals versus systems. This is the thing. Now, it's going to sound a little hypocritical with the one Bitcoin goal, but so you got to focus on the system of getting there, which is frugality and just doing everything, starting these little side hustles where you charge people this, that, and the other. Okay, because if you're just like, I got to get one Bitcoin, you're not going to actually get that. You create this system, this way of life. So it's repeatable things every single day. Every single day I'm going to make a video and make $2 off of YouTube and change that $2 into Bitcoin.
Yep.
And slowly but surely I'm going to get that one Bitcoin. And then guess what? I got the one Bitcoin, but I'm going to still keep up the system.
Yes.
So, because that's what I always say about the one Bitcoin show. Let one Bitcoin be your first goal, but then 2 Bitcoin, then 10 Bitcoin, then whatever. Yeah. But again, it's all, you keep the same system there. When the goals keep changing, but don't worry about don't get fixated on those goals, because then you forget about the system.
Right. The goal is more like
refine these systems. Yes, you're using your brain constantly, and it's just something you're doing, and you don't get worried about the system. It's just something you do every day. With the one Bitcoin, you'd be like, oh, I only have 0.2 Bitcoin. It's been a year. I'm never going to get it. No, you're just like, I'm continue what I'm doing every day. I'm following the system. I'm following the system. I'm following the system. So it's not just about Bitcoins. It's about, that's the way to live life. Yeah. That's the way to live life.
That's awesome.
But like, I didn't lose 30 pounds today. No, dude, you gotta cut out this thing. You gotta make a plan of what you're cutting out every single day and what steps you have to take. I gotta do intermittent fasting more. I gotta run more. It's all part of the system. It's just like, you'll still have 30 pounds goal, but if you only have the 30 pounds goal and you haven't fleshed it out a lot, and don't have repeatable things every day, you're never gonna get there and stuff. So think of these. It involves more of the mind to create a system. A goal is very simple, and it's good to have goals, but it's again, this is philosophies.
That's awesome. No, it makes sense. Like we talk about on the show, we stack sats, right? And you're gradually building towards that. So we stack episodes, right? We stack episodes. I do jiu-jitsu. I started about a year ago. First couple of months, I got wrecked. It was terrible because your body's not used to it, right? But slow and steady, kept stacking sessions, and I'm a year into it. I feel great. My body feels tougher, and again, everything, you have to have a plan. You have to get your goal, and then your plan will be based on what your goal is, and incremental steps to get you closer and closer. And it's all doable. You can do, like you said, a little bit at a time each day. So that's very nice.
Wow. Was that video that you watched from 2019 or something of mine, or 2020? I mean, it's definitely before the virus came out.
It's about 3 years ago, I think. About 3 years.
I haven't talked about system versus goals for a while, but that is Scott Adams, who is far from perfect. He's far from perfect on Bitcoin. He sold all his Bitcoin at one point. He panicked at one point, but he's a multi-millionaire. So like, he's talking about selling his Bitcoin. And like, I'm like, oh no, dude, you really should not mention that, because other people who are not rich like you are going to sell it. Like, he panicked. Like, he thought he was all smart too, because it was right before the virus. Like, it went down to 10,000 to 7,000. Wow. So he sold all his Bitcoin, and then he's like, I'm so smart, it's down to 4,000. Like, no,
oh my gosh.
Because the other people followed his lead late, and they can't easily get back into it as he could have gotten back into it. And so what if he's, it was. I didn't like it. And then he was too scared of the virus also. But that's a whole, he's been right. Wild. You could, and this is a lesson, bringing up all his faults there. You can learn from people you don't agree with 100% of the time. I strongly disagree with his Bitcoin and virus stuff, strongly. But there's other things you could learn. I learned the systems versus goals thing from him, and that was a good thing to learn. You got to be able to integrate the good from some people's philosophies into your own philosophies. And do not integrate the bad. You got to be discerning. You got to use your brains. People.
That's about the message.
Don't let other people tell you what to think. See what other people think, and then decide if that's right for you and how you're going to integrate it into your life. Because we all think a little differently. We all implement things differently. There's my.
That's fantastic.
There.
What are you working on these days?
These days is just I'm trying to. I'm focusing on my health, intermittent fasting. Yep. I'm in the middle of a 41-hour fast right now, actually.
Wow, that's amazing.
I love it, getting to know Salt Lake City even more, getting involved in the Bitcoin community here even more, getting to know more people in Bitcoin in Salt Lake City. Trying to do more shows again. I'm I'm involved with this guy, Benjamin Dichter, BJ Dichter, who's in charge of the trucker protest in Canada, and I'm going to be doing some more work with him. He's been inspirational lately. So, I mean, that's up to the minute type stuff.
That's cool.
Benjamin Dichter, I mean, we were just talking, maybe I want to appear on the Toxic Happy Hour spaces on Twitter more. That's like, I was just on that like 30 minutes before we started talking. So yeah, when you say, what are you up to? Literally, that is cool. What I was just up to the last 2-3 hours, but I want to do more of that.
Yeah.
Because I don't make as many shows as I used to, because it's a pain in the tuchus. It's a pain in the butt. But I want to appear on other people's shows more, because that's so easy.
Yeah.
And so if you are watching this, again, be it in 2034 or 2024, I am a very approachable person. This is how I am in real life. Send me a DM on Twitter. Let's arrange it. Make it easy for me, and I'll be on your show. You made it really easy for me.
Thank you.
I was on your show. So let's do it. I will be happy to make more appearances on shows if the people make it easy for me.
Excellent.
So that is what, and I'm excited about that. It is the halving year coming out. Yeah, they're always having hype. I use the term having hype every 2016 and 2020 and now. So that's what I'm up to. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Okay. Last segment of the show. I'm just going to call it my 2 sats. With all of your experience so far, what is the single most important insight you've had about Bitcoin?
That doesn't change. Boring.
No, it's good.
Boring is beautiful. And that the more that I don't want it to change, and that we should always question change, and that there are second layers, there are altcoins, there are all sorts of things you can experiment with. And that the wealthiest people in the world do some of the most boring things. They really don't gamble, okay? They understand what a sound financial system is, what a sound financial decision is. Now, early on, Bitcoin probably seemed like something that wasn't very sound for people, because it's so new that no country controls it. It's totally digital. I can't touch it. But when you start to understand the underlying aspects of it, it is very boring. It is very basic stuff. Very basic. Only 21 million. That's never going to change. That's not very fancy. And it's just, you bury it 100 years later, it's the exact same thing. Most people are impulsive. They want things to constantly change. This is the opposite of impulsivity. And that is the realization I hope everybody comes to, that is the best. That's the best way to do things. Now, to use your head and to, base yourself around things that are not impulsive in nature.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Adam Meister. Check him out, guys, on Bitcoin Meister on YouTube. He's also at TechBalt. It's on the screen on X or Twitter. And thank you so much for taking the time. Our first guest. Awesome time hanging out with you.
Pound that like button, everybody watching this on YouTube. Thank you.
All right. We're taking Adam out with a round of applause from the live studio audience. Let's go. Thanks again. Cool. 1 sec. Get this music going in the background. And just like that, that is our first interview here on the Stack Sats show. I'm so happy to have Adam be the first guest. And again, guys, please go over there, follow Adam, and just what a cool person. What a cool mind shift for me, right? I think the biggest takeaway for me in this episode is I need to back off of my friends and family, and just they know what I'm about at this point. If they have questions, they're gonna come to me. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. All right.